This may be a very controversial video, but I predict that AI will result in a massive explosion in frivolous lawsuits. And I think there are two big reasons for this. And what does this all mean, by the way? It means it's so important to plan ahead, to try to protect your assets, and to try to avoid lawsuits in the first place. So there's only so much you can do when unscrupulous lawyers and litigants are coming after you. So why will AI lead to an explosion in the number of lawsuits? One, I think AI is going to put a lot of lawyers out of work. So especially for big law firms, they used to have huge teams of attorneys just to help with discovery and pouring through massive amounts of documentation. AI will allow for a lot of this to be automated. So they'll still need teams to go over documents, but artificial intelligence will probably dramatically reduce the amount of time needed to go through huge reams of documents. So a lot of lawyers will be let go. What does that mean? It means a lot more unemployed lawyers, desperate lawyers looking for cases. The more desperate attorneys there are, the more willing these attorneys will be to take on bad cases where they know maybe there's nothing legitimate there, but hey, maybe we can squeeze the other party for a few bucks. Two, on the flip side, I just mentioned artificial intelligence will probably make large law firms more efficient. It will also make individual practitioners more efficient. We already know there are a few law firms in California and other states that are essentially lawsuit trolls. They just file hundreds or even thousands of lawsuits, some totally frivolous, some based on pure technicalities where they know they're not really filed in good faith. This will make it easier for these unscrupulous law firms to file even more lawsuits. They'll be able to automate more of these processes. And once they get good at it, trust me, they're just going to go crazy filing more and more lawsuits because they know that a certain percentage of those will just settle and they'll just get money given to them. And they often will take a share of that settlement. So I'm really worried about this. I mean, there are legitimate lawsuits out there, don't get me wrong. And many attorneys are totally ethical and don't take frivolous cases. But the more desperate attorneys there are, the more frivolous cases there will be, the more society will suffer because frivolous lawsuits can just pull people, can destroy people financially, emotionally, can take their time. So be careful. And what can you do ahead of time? Well, make sure you have a good estate plan in place to make sure nothing slips. That if you become incapacitated, someone can step in and make sure your affairs are properly managed. And there are also asset protection trusts that you can create for yourself and especially for your kids. Don't leave money directly to your kids. Create protective trusts like dynasty trusts, or as our firm calls them, family protection trusts, to at least provide some protection against frivolous lawsuits in the future. But anyway, let's all be aware of this. I think another side tip, by the way, is don't flaunt wealth. You know, I'm always amazed when I see someone driving a $300,000 Lamborghini or Porsche or one of those super high-end cars. You are asking to be sued. People want you to hit them so they can throw lawsuits at you. Don't flaunt wealth if you have it. Try to just live a good life, avoid lawsuits, and try to protect your assets as best you can. But I'm really worried about what AI has in store for society, and with a number of lawsuits, some legitimate, but many frivolous as well. Do you agree with me? Do you think this is wrong? Do you think this is right? Subscribe, like, follow this. Let me know what you think. I'm really worried about this. Our firm is really worried about this, but I mean, we'll see what happens. No one can predict the future.